Yo everybody, welcome to a new video. Today we did the thing we were working so hard for pretty much, what is it, like 2 weeks and a half or something like that. We finally made the entire way to the fully finished fusion for Titus Blackplume. We're just about to fuse the last component here. We got a Gom who is, well, fully finished up. I did all the events and I got all the shards. Now he still needs to be upgraded to the point where he's actually able to be used in the fusion, but we got all the components, and today we're gonna be finishing up the last beat over here and claiming Titus and getting to know him well. Let's go. We got our good old Gom, the last piece of this, guys. We need to level him up, we need to fully ascend him, and we just need to send him off to the Shadow Realm as we are gonna be transforming him into a nice good old Titus. So let's go and do a little bit of leveling with him. If you want to join my team in Raid Shadow Legends, click the link in the description to get a free Narma as well as Anax, Uugo, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. Here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description and register a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get a fresh start in Raid with a free Narma and 3 epic champs. Click on my link right now. We'll do a little bit of campaign farming with him just so we can get some of the early levels gone, and then we'll keep on boosting him just with silver. Okay, there we go. He's now level 50, fully ascended. It did cost me a little bit of energy and money, but that is what it is. I am basically dry on resources after doing this entire string of events. I mean, that's kind of what it's supposed to be about. All of these fusion events, you are going to be running low on resources, so that's why they want to be getting you to spend some money, right? So we'll put all our guys over here, and now finally the fusion button, I guess, it's now active, right? So it is a void guy. Okay, oh my god, I didn't even know this much money was required. Hold on a second. Okay, now we should actually be ready to go. It is damn expensive, 1 million silver to fuse up a champion. I did not know this was a thing. Anyways, there we go. It's now fully transferred and we unlocked Titus Blackplume, the man, the myth, the legend. He's now in our possession. There we go. The reviews are now atrocious, as you can see, as he's been nerfed, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but we'll still go through a review anyways. Actually, no, I lied. I was bamboozled by the fact that a lot of community were talking about this guy, Titus himself, being nerfed, because they were fearing that that might be the case, as he is so far being extremely broken just in all forms of bossing, particularly clan boss, Hydra, and stuff like that. He is a monster when you can put him in a big shield, which he himself cannot generate in theory, and we'll get into that in a second, but you can actually do so if you put him in some blood shield, what you call it, artifacts like amulets, rings, or just a necklace, and that way he can scale up that shield himself. As he's doing more damage, he is going to be doing, but basically what these amulets do, which I don't have any to show you, is that whenever the wearer shield worth 5% of damage dealt after attacking. So he's going to be attacking, and whatever damage he's going to be doing is going to be turned into a shield onto himself. So as soon as you can stack up this stack a little bit, the shield's going to be becoming bigger, and therefore his stack is going to be growing, and that yada yada yada, you know the drill. It's going to be getting massive, right? So he can basically do the entire effect onto himself just through a little bit of gear, right? And getting these artifacts is not going to be that easy, but just by getting some blood shield stuff like that, you're going to be able to do it. Otherwise, you will need to be relying on some Wixwell or some Brognies to really make him shine. Although, yeah, still, he's pretty free to play. Honestly, just put him into some reflex gear. But let's really quick get into the actual build and what he does and why is he so good, right? I'm not going to be actually putting him in any real good gear because I am basically dry after the entire event just to get him, right? So let's first of all go ahead and check out his kit, right? So the A1, single target attack, 40% chance of placing a block active skills debuff for 2 turns, okay. And then this effect cannot be resisted if the champion is under a shield buff, which he will most definitely be, as that is the entire idea of this champion. Now, again, he cannot generate shields by himself unless you have some tricks like which we already talked about. Now, whenever an ally counterattacks, team up with allies to attack or instantly activates a skill, also has a 40% chance of placing a block active skills debuff for 2 turns on the target enemy. So a little bit of synergy over here with some other people in your composition, just for that block active skills buff to be put onto the enemy, debuff rather. Now, if there are multiple champions, only one with this skill will activate, and he's of course scaling off of defense. Now, this chance can go up all the way up to 60%, but that is just a little bit of shenanigan. The block active skills will be decent and nice for sure in some PvP. Now let's go over to the A2. Attacks one enemy. This attack will always be critical if the champion is under a shield. Again, this is supposed to always be happening. That's why you don't really need the crit rate. I think you don't actually need to be scaling the crit rate. This attack also gains a damage boost equal to the value of the shield, and this is the entire bread and butter of this champion. You want to be making yourself be in a massive shield buff, the biggest you can possibly accumulate, and therefore the scaling of this ability is pretty much as big as your shield can be. So if you are going to be ideally cycling through your abilities as soon as possible, that's why some reflex gear will be taking you a lot further, or some relentless gear as well. We'll just be making it so that you can get back to the A2 as soon as possible. Now this also removes all debuffs from all allies if the target is skilled, which I do believe will be happening in the Hydra for sure. Like, you can kill the heads, so therefore that is a cleanse. It does not work of course in the clan boss since you're not killing anything. Now if the target survives, it's going to be placing a provoke debuff on all enemies for one turn instead, making it himself just be a massive tank who's kind of just supposed to be unkillable, as that shield will be so damn high ideally that he will never just die. Now this effect never resisted if the champion is under a shield buff, right? So you guarantee 100% no need for extra accuracy to get that provoke going off, and it's going to be scaling both of defense and HP. So yeah, double deeper over there. Of course, the idea is to get a massive shield, so the scalings are kind of whatever in any case. Now, next up, we got the A3, which is going to be placing a 50% ally protection buff, as well as a 50% increase attack buff, and a 30% increase speed buff on a single ally for 2 turns, and then also filling that ally star meter by 40%. So it's just a little bit of buffs here and there. You're going to be able to spread this out quite a little bit, as it's only on a 3-turn cooldown. It's going to be lasting for 2 turns, but ideally this guy's going to be very fast and just able to cycle through the cooldowns really quick, so you will be getting back to this real damn soon. Now, instantly activate this skill at the end of an ally's turn if that ally has no buffs and their HP is lower than 100%. Will that ever happen? Well, at the beginning of fights, most likely. But yeah, we would need to see, of course, if you're having a massive coating of buffs, this is not really going to be happening that often. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate, so you cannot really be stacking a lot of Tituses. And now finally the passive is that each time an enemy hits an ally, the next ally's attack will deal 10% more damage for each hit they take, stacking up to 100%. So if you're going to be getting hit a big bunch of times, that means the double damage on any other ally. You can team this guy up, not just making him himself be the total damage beast carry, which he's already more than good enough and capable of doing. He can also provide a whole lot of utility for the entire team. Now the damage increases, resets after that ally deals damage, so it only counts for a single hit. So you will be needing to have like Toshiros into your team who are able to really stack up onto a massive hit, and this would definitely be a very, very good addition. I really expect to see some shenanigans over here with this also going on with Toshiros. And then we also got some ally HP in all battles scaled up by this guy's aura, but again, it's really all about the shields. So what is the deal with these guys? What stats do you actually want to be putting on him? So most importantly, you need to make sure that he is getting some shields, and that is either going to be depending on the team you're putting him next to, so some Wixwells, or yep, some, the other guy, the Brognies, or just some blood shield relics in the form of the accessories, right? Those could make it work. Now, if you don't have access to those, this guy is not really going to be working that well in general, right? So it's quite restrictive in the form of that, just making a good build composition so he's actually able to get his full potential out there. In any case, once you do have that, you only need to be putting him in a lot of speed so he can get back to using that A2, cycling through his cooldowns and getting back to it, so he's able to really get the potential out of the damage. So then it's really all just going to be a matter of making him survive, which would basically be automatically done, given that if you have a massive shield on him, which would be the idea, then he would already pretty much be unkillable. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really hurt to put him in a little bit of extra defense, so that shield goes down a little bit less in general by any hits that happen on him. And then if you also want to be scaling a little bit of the damage that he does with the A1, which, yeah, that would pretty much be the only thing you need the crit rate for, then you would go for the crit rate and crit damage. Now, why do I say that the crit rate is not that important? It's because, well, as we saw over here, the attack is going to always be critical if the champion is under a shield buff. And this is literally the only, like, the main damage source that he's going to be having is going to be the A2. And therefore, if you are going to be using him for the shenanigans of stacking up a massive shield and dealing big damage to bossing, yep, you don't really care much about the A1. The crit damage over here and the crit rate over here is kind of going to be whatever. You're always going to be critting here without any crit rate whatsoever with the A2 on itself. And then it would finally be a little bit of a matter of getting accuracy over here if you actually want to be placing these debuffs onto the enemy, right? It's kind of just depends on what you're really looking for on this guy as you know, as a little bit of what do you want to be using him for. If you want to be using him in arena in some sort of ways, which I don't really know if it's going to be happening, but you could potentially do so, then the A1 would have a lot more prio and the accuracy would be a much bigger requirement. You do anyways want to be using this in case you're doing some, I don't know, some Doom Tower or whatever you want to be getting through the early stages. The block active skills will always be nice. In any case, most bosses will definitely not allow you to be putting this debuff onto them, right? Now, then scaling up the defense, of course, is not just going to be a matter of him surviving, it's also a matter of getting him to do a lot more damage, as the A2 has quite a decent scaling on the defense, which is literally godlike, as it is a 5.5 scaling on the defense plus 1 time the shield value divided by the HP. So if the HP is higher, I think therefore that would just make it worse. It's just a matter of the relationship between how much shield does he have and how much HP he has, right? So the higher his defense, the better the damage, and you don't really want to be making his HP that big according to this formula, if I'm reading it right. Yeah, there you go. Just so you guys know what I'm talking about, the formula for the scaling on the A2 is the following, right? 5.5 times the defense amount plus 1 time, or rather 1 plus the relationship between the shield amount you have on you divided by the HP, right? So the higher your HP, the bigger the division is going to be, and therefore you would rather have your HP be very low and the shield on you be very damn high. So therefore this division is just as higher of a number as possible, and that is all just added onto the total amount of multiplier that's added onto your attack over here. So given that his stats are going to be that damn easy, just get him to be very fast, and it's all going to be a matter of really the composition you're able to put him on, what sets will really be just making him just a lot better, right? So one thing that would be very, very good would be Merciless, because of that extra chance of getting an extra turn if you're able to fully finish up the entire set, as well as some Ignore Defense, and then the chance of decreasing a random skill cooldown by 1 turn. This would be the perfect setup if you are able to manage it on him, as he's able to tick all the boxes of what you need on this guy. Otherwise, what else would be good? You could put him on some Savage, so he's able to ignore some defense. That would just be some extra raw damage. Relentless would also be very damn nice. The extra turns, of course, means cooldown reduction, sort of like Reflex, which literally just does the same thing. You have a chance of reducing a random skill's cooldown. Protection Gear also kind of works pretty well on him, although I don't have any to show you over here. And then Retaliation would kind of also be decent enough, although I think he would be attacking with his A1 and wouldn't count as a cooldown reduction, and therefore I don't know about the counter-attacking thing. I don't know, Retaliation and Perception would kind of work as much more budget approaches, as again, you don't really care much about the accuracy if you really just want to be doing a massive amount of damage onto the clan bosses, and you don't really care much about the crit rate or crit damage. I mean, you would be wanting the crit damage to be scaled up massively. Excuse me on that if I did say before that it wouldn't matter that much. I meant the crit rate, right? The crit rate would be not that much of a thing if you don't really care much about the A1, right? Like the A1 would be nice, but it's really all about the A2, right? So the more speedy he is and the more defense he has, it's just going to be making him all the better. I'll be coming to you guys with a full build of whenever I can actually put some good gear on him and try and do a showcase. I don't really have all the pieces you can see to really make him shine. There's no wick swells or stuff like that, so he's very much going to be an in-the-works project for me, unfortunately. Now, don't trust these reviews. These, I don't even know why these guys are so mad about all these, but yeah, he's really all about Demon Lord and Hydra. That is where he's really going to be good. Chimera, not as much, but anyways, he's definitely an A+. Like, his rating is a total of 5 for endgame content in literally all dungeoning in general in the game at the moment, if you're able to really have all the pieces to put them together and actually make him work. Right, so hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what you think about it, Titus, if you actually got him yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, see ya.